We're going to do 3 problems that cover similar concepts to what you can expect to see on your quiz. So in this first problem, we do have a table. You may want to pause and write down what's in the table so you have it for your notes as you study to prepare. We've got a table that represents Octavio's height. So we can see each year from 2010 to 2013 how tall he is in inches. We are asked to find the common difference and then also find out how tall he would be in 2016 if the pattern continues. So in this problem, we're going to really focus in just on the height part. We know the year is going to change every year. The variable that we care about here is the height. We can predict his growth based on the pattern that we're seeing. So first thing we've got to do is discover what the common difference is. So some of you guys may just be able to look at this and say like, oh, I know exactly how this is changing every time. And for others of you, you might not be able to just look and know. So remember, something you can always do is the second number, 51, minus the first number. So second number, 51 minus the first number, 49. 51 minus 49 is 2. What that tells me is since it's a positive 2, I'm increasing by 2 each time, and we can check that. 49 plus 2 is 51. 51 plus 2 is 53. 53 plus 2 is 55. So when we write our common difference, we're going to write it as D equals positive 2. The D there stands for difference, the common difference, and it's a positive 2 because we are increasing. We would have a negative common difference if we were subtracting every time. So now to figure out his height in 2016, I'm going to continue my table, and due to space, I'm going to do it just down here in some blank space. If you have space on your table or on your paper, you could maybe continue your table out there. So I'm going to set up my table down here for 2014 would be the next year because my table cuts off at 2013. So I need to know 2014, 2015, and then the question is actually asking me about 2016. So if we continue the pattern from 2013 to 2014, he'll grow 2 more inches. And 55 plus 2 would be 57 inches. Again, I need to continue my pattern, add 2 to figure out how tall he is in 2015. 57 plus 2 is 59. And then add 2 more to get to 2016, which is the year that the problem is asking us about. 59 plus 2 is 61. So his height in 2016 was 61 inches. So 2 concepts there, finding the common difference and then continuing the pattern further. In number 2, Brian wants to get healthier by losing weight, and his weight over the last 5 weeks is given in the following sequence. And we can see the sequence right here. Take a second to at least write this part down. We start at 275, then 271, 267, 263, and 259. And the directions ask us to write the recursive form that models that scenario. So remember, in recursive form, we have 2 pieces we need to know. We need to know what the pattern is and where to start. So in looking at our numbers, some of you, again, might be able just to say, oh, I see how many that is decreasing by or how many it drops by. And some of you might need to use that routine of doing the second number minus the first number. So up here, I'll do that math. 271 is the second number minus the first number, 275, and that is negative 4. So when we get a negative for our difference, that means we're subtracting every time, and I can see that's true. We're going down, we're decreasing. So if I subtract 4, my pattern works across the board. We can verify that. And the way we write that in a recursive form of an equation, we would say to get to the next number, we use the previous, and we subtract 4. So next equals previous minus 4. And then if all I saw was that, I would know that my pattern's subtracting 4, but I wouldn't know where to start. So we do need to clarify that piece. My first number that represents Brian's original weight is 275. So we can just write start equals 275. And for this last problem, Khadijah's favorite flower grows according to the following form, and we've got a recursive equation over here. We want to make a table and a graph to show the first 4 terms. So I'm going to give you a little bit more context just to help this make a little bit more sense. We are tracking Khadijah's flower we'll say by week. So over a certain number of weeks, we're looking at how tall the height of the flower in inches, we'll say. So the information I can gather, the first thing I can gather is the start number is 6. So in the first week, that flower is 6 inches tall. And then from my equation, next equals previous plus 2. So that tells me my pattern is adding 2. So if I add 2 for the second week, 6 plus 2 is 8. So I'm adding 2 to get from there. And we were asked to do the first 4 terms, so we'll need 4 weeks worth. And again, we're going to add 2 again. 8 plus 2 is 10. And I can add 2 again. That would be 12. Writing these numbers out to the side, you don't have to do as long as you can fill out the table. If you can count by 2s, 6, 8, 10, 12, that's totally fine. These numbers just help us in our note taking know why we did what we did. And again, we were adding 2 because we had a plus 2 right here. Then we want to draw a graph. So for this graph, again, I'm not going to use graph paper. If you have graph paper, you're welcome to. I can see all my numbers are positive, so I really only need that first quadrant, the positive part of my graph. So I'm going to set up my x and y axis, but just include the positive part. So there's my positive x-axis right here, positive y-axis. And we're going to graph the week down here on the x-axis as compared to the height on the y-axis. So as far as weeks go, I just need to be able to get to week 4. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. We can label those week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. With height, my highest number is 12, so I am going to need to get all the way up to 12. So I'm going to put 12 tick marks. I'm not going to label all of those because I think that's going to be too much writing in a small space. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to go back and just label every other one. So that's my second, the 4th, the 6th, the 8th, the 10th, and the 12th. And I just do that to give me a little bit of guidance as I'm graphing. So now we need to plot our points. To graph this first week, 1, 6, if you remember from graphing, we'll start at the origin. So our origin in this one is right here. We'll start at the origin and we'll go to the right one, to week 1, and then we'll go up to 6 inches and put a dot. We'll do the same thing for the rest of the points. The second week, we need to go up to 8. The third week, we go all the way up to 10. And the fourth week up to 12. So what this problem asked you to do is take equations and apply those. So you might be asked to make a table, you might be asked to make a graph, you might be asked just to make a list of numbers, but we should be able to use the equations when we're given those. Make sure you study for your quiz. If you need extra help with this, attend office hours with your teacher or arrange something with another teacher if you need to. But make sure you do prepare for your quiz.